Hey there YouTube, I have a carry gun that I use quite frequently, a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, chambered in 45 auto. And you can see that I've color filled this. I've got a little bit of the colors coming off the Smith & Wesson logo. I got to redo it. When you oil your gun a lot, that tends to happen. But anyway, it's a neat thing you can do to color fill this in. So I brought this gun around today to talk about some of the features. So first things first, the first thing that always comes up is the grip. Okay, the grip of this firearm, really rough textured, and some people hate it, some people love it. I love it, and the reason I love it is because with 45 automatic in this small platform, okay, in this small single stack 7-shot platform, I get a really great grip on this gun. I mean, I really love it. I can rattle off all 7 rounds and the gun never shifts in my hand. The other feature I really like is what I'm about to show you. So when you go to disassemble this gun, it's your typical striker fired pistol in that you bring the gun to here and you push all you want. You've got to pull the trigger to get that slide off, okay? And the reason being is you've got this little sear here, this little silver piece. You'll see it moving up and down right there by my finger, okay? This guy has to be pulled down out of the way for the slide to come off. Okay, it has to be pulled down out of the way for the slide to come off. And so, with that case, you know, with this guy having to be pulled out of the way, the only way to do that is to pull the trigger, right? Well, that's not true. Smith & Wesson actually engineered something into this because there are a lot of accidental shootings every year in this country from people who do not clear their chamber, and when they go to pull the trigger to clean their gun, they go to pull the trigger to disassemble their gun, the gun goes off. So Smith & Wesson engineered a little thing, an override, and you'll see here there's a little lever. So here is your ejector. This is what sends your spent casings flying. Just under your ejector, you'll see this little lever, and it's painted yellow. Mine's a little faded, and the yellow paint doesn't stick for too long, but it's painted yellow, and you push it down, okay? You push it down. So you see it's sticking out now. It's kind of poking out right under the ejector there, poking out into the mag well. You push that down and it locks this sear in the downward position. It locks this sear in the downward position. Now, here's what's happened, okay? Because that's locked down, you don't have to pull the trigger to disassemble this gun. So let me show you that. I'm going to put it back up, so it's back in the up position. I'm going to reassemble the gun, okay? Okay, so gun's reassembled and in full working order. And by the way, before I disassemble this gun again, I do want to say I really love the trigger on this gun. It's about a 5.5 pound pull. It's very clean. It's always reliable and great 3-dot sights for a small concealed carry gun. This thing's so easy to get on target. I mean, I just can't sing the praises enough. And the scalloping that Smith & Wesson puts on their semi-autos is really good. I mean, with gloves, with wet hands, with greasy hands, you get 2 fingers on there and I mean, it digs into your skin, but you're getting that slide back. So anyway, so back to our disassembly. So we're gonna lock our slide back. We're gonna rotate our takedown lever down, just like before. But I'm gonna reach in with my screwdriver, and it's really impossible for me to do this on camera, but I'm gonna push that override switch down. Okay, and I keep this little screwdriver in my gun cleaning kit. And I push that override switch down so that it's hanging out into the mag well. And what should happen, usually, is voila. Your slide comes off without pulling the trigger. And so if you're one of those people that wants to buy a striker fired gun, but you do not want a gun, that requires you to pull the trigger to disassemble it because you know that could create an accidental discharge. Now, you should check your chamber before you ever take a gun apart, but some people still, even with that check, don't like to pull the trigger on a gun when they're taking it apart. I get that. The Shield might be a gun for you because it's engineered that you don't have to pull the trigger. You have to flip that override switch, but you don't have to pull the trigger. So I love that feature. I think it's a neat feature. It has a captivated recoil spring. It's actually a dual spring system. And again, I love captivated recoil springs because you don't have parts flying everywhere when you take this off. It just comes apart. You just take it off and it's just this one little piece. The other thing that they have that is quite common on semi-automatics, grab my screwdriver instead of my spring here, is it's got your little plunger here, okay? So you see that little plunger here. This little plunger right here is activated by this little switch right here at my finger, okay? And that combination of that switch pushing that plunger allows your striker to hit your primer. So let me demonstrate, okay? Here's my striker right here. This little piece here connects to a rod that goes all the way through to here, okay? And I can push on that till I'm blue in the face, okay? Nothing's happening. You can beat this with a hammer, you can drop it, you can throw it. The firing pin is never going to contact your ammo. Now, what happens when I press that little silver button? Okay, so I'm going to press that little silver button with the screwdriver. Now what do you see? Right? You see a firing pin sticking through. Right? You see that firing pin sticking through? Ta-da! The gun will go off. Now, when I let go of that silver button, listen. Click, and now you can push and push and push. Push all you want to push. You're not getting that striker to come through. That's how they engineer this gun to be drop safe. That's how they engineer this gun not to go off unless you pull the trigger. And so whenever I read news stories and someone says, oh, my gun just went off. My gun just went off. I don't know what happened. I dropped it and it just went off. They're a liar. What happened was they dropped their gun and they tried to catch it. And they swiped that trigger and the gun went off. Folks, if you drop your gun, let it fall. The worst thing you're going to do is put a scratch on your pretty finish, but the gun will not go off. Modern firearms are engineered to be drop safe. The same thing is when I carry appendix or when I carry, I have an urban carry holster. I'll do a review on that sometime. When I carry with an urban carry holster, people look at me and they say, you put a gun down the front of your pants. You know there's important stuff down there, right? I'm not worried about that because I know this thing can't go off unless I pull the trigger. So anyway, some neat things about the Smith & Wesson Shield, and then again a little detail that maybe you don't care about, which is the drop safety of this gun. But it's a great gun. It shoots well. You can buy 6. It comes with 1 6 and 1 7 round magazine. I carry it with 2 7-round magazines, and the 6-round magazine just is for range use. I did buy the model with the flip safety because that's all I could find. At some point, I might consider removing this safety. I haven't decided yet. But it's easy to take apart. It's easy to clean. It shoots well. Really can't say a whole lot bad about it. There's really nothing bad to say. I watched some reviews online of this gun before I bought it. And every review that I watched was talking about how much it recoiled, how bad that thing recoiled. And I bought it and I thought, well, it's not really that bad. Maybe I've been shooting so long that I don't have a good feel for it. So at the time I bought this, my son was 10. And I let my 10-year-old shoot this. And at the time, he's 10 years old and he weighs, I don't know, 60, 61 pounds soaking wet when I bought this gun. And he can shoot through a magazine. And so, I mean, if a 60-pound 10-year-old can shoot this, I think you can too. And it's a great gun. And the added bonus, of course, is with the 7-round magazine, it comes to about here. And so when you grip it, you get a spot for your pinky to fall on, which is why I really like the 7-round magazines. Still very concealable, very easy to conceal, very, very fun to shoot, and very reliable. Knock on wood, I guess. I've got 500 or 600 rounds through this gun in the 2.5 years I've owned it. And in that time, I've had absolutely no failures. It's been 100% reliable with hollow points and with ball ammo. And what else can you ask for? It's reliable. It goes bang every time. Great serrations too. You know, the serrations that Smith & Wesson puts, this odd scalloping, they're the only company I know of that does this. And I really, really love these because even with greasy hands, I mean, I can have my hands can be just filthy, and I can reach up and grab that, and it just is so, I mean, it digs into you, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you had to sit and hold this slide back for a long time, it really gets to your fingers. I mean, you might even be able to see it's leaving marks on me, but in a self-defense encounter, I like that positive purchase, that absolute, your hand's not going to slip off because it's so slick. Same with this rough grip. I mean, they really made this gun for a defensive encounter. But I will say this: if you buy this gun and you intend to carry it in the waistband, you absolutely have to wear an undershirt between you and this gun, or this will rub you raw. And I know that from personal experience because I was out mowing the lawn and weed eating with this under a shirt with no undershirt on, and yeah. I had a bad place for a few days. It looked like I'd rubbed sandpaper on myself for 5 minutes. So anyway, a great gun. You know, chamber inspection port here if you like that sort of thing. The great thing about it is if you don't like it or you don't care for it or you're indifferent for it, it doesn't snag, it doesn't hurt you. But it's a great way to see if your gun's loaded. I always just do the tactile chamber check where we pull our gun out of battery and look, but that's just me. So if you have any questions about this gun, shoot me a message and I'll be glad to answer them.